Namaste everyone and welcome to our fifth session of subject-based study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We started with 36 Sloki Gita, made a foundation, and then we took the different topics, and we have already covered charity, the highest human virtue. Then we discuss about the mind and its working, and that information will be very handy today. Then followed by that we discuss about Shraddha, which is a prerequisite for spiritual knowledge as well even mundane achievements. So we discuss about Shraddha, and then last time we discussed about happiness and sorrows, and we went in the details of happiness and sorrows, and we also went over the teachings of Arthur Schopenhauer, who said, a German philosopher of 19th century, who defined and who explained us about happiness and sorrows. And according to him, he says there is nothing like happiness on its own. Happiness is essentially absence of sorrows. And that seems to be very true, especially in these days when we are all facing a tremendous tragedy all over the world, suffering so much of losses, and for some reason if that COVID, God willing, goes away, we will be extremely happy. So that proves the truth that it is the absence of sorrows that is really the happiness. We don't want sorrows. Happiness is absence of sorrows. Otherwise, as an entity, it does not exist. There is very good teaching in our scriptures also, that which explains happiness and sorrows. So it says, na nityam labhate sukham, na nityam labhate dukkham, lobham hitva sukhi bhavet. Nobody is always going to be happy. No one is always going to be sorrowful. Just get rid of your greed. Lobham hitva sukhi bhavet. Then you will be happy all the time. The trouble is our greed, which makes us going here and there and spinning all our life. So that is very true, that we should get rid of greed. And greed is a eldest son of desire. Desire is the mother. She has 3 kids. The youngest one is action. As soon as the desire comes, it makes you move. So that is the youngest kid. Not so bad. Then this is a middle-aged kid who is very aggressive, and that is our krodha. And third one is the lobha or greed. So krodh and lobh krodh means so anger and greed are the 2 byproducts or offsprings of desire. If you don't want anger, you have to get rid of desire. If there is no desire, you cannot have anger. Anger is essentially an obstructed desire. If I have some desire, and if something comes in between my desire and my ability to fulfill, may it be some person or some inert material, that becomes my obstacle, and that causes me anger. If I am successful and if I get the reward which I am expecting, then I get a desire to have more, and desire to have more again, and that is greed. Greed has 2 components. One is whatever I have is not enough. Second thing, and I want more. These 2 makes a greed, and this is endless. It is not that you satisfy one desire that it will stop. No, one is satisfied, and then three are in the waiting list. So these goes on from birth to death. So greed and anger are the two outcomes of desire. So God says, get rid of the desire. This is the teaching we just discussed, that it says get rid of the lobha or greed, and then lobham hitva sukhi bhave. You will be happy. There is no doubt about it. But we have to just put it in action and see for ourselves. So, but to learn this, we have to know the scriptures. That's what Lord Krishna said in 16th chapter. Now, which is 16th chapter is Devasur Sampada Vibhagyo, means the divine and satanic qualities of a human being. That is the whole chapter is on that. And at the end of the chapter, Lord Krishna says, Yas Sastra Vidim Utsrujya Vartate Kamakarata न स शांतिम वापनोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. यशास्त्र विधिम उत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारत न स शांतिम वापनोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. So word by word, if we go, the yashastra vidim utsrujya, those who do the contrary to whatever are the injunctions of the scripture, contrary to that, yashastra vidim utsrujya means contrary, utsrujya, vartate kamkarata, and behaves as per his sweet desires. He only gives importance to his selfish desire. Vartate means behaves, kamkarata means with his own desire. That's it. He has no other concern. I want this, I will get this, and when you want it so badly, you say I will get it by hook and crook, and that's where you cross all the boundaries, and the trouble starts. So the vartate kam karata na sa santim vapnoti na sukham na param gatim. To such a person, what happens? He can never have peaceful sleep. Na sa santim vapnoti. There is no santi or peace for such a person. Na sa santim vapnoti, na sukham, no happiness, na param gatim means a life fulfillment or ultimate goal. Such a person can never have. So that's why God says tasmat means therefore. Very important statement. Or God always gives it a follow up and gives a direction. Tasmat Shastra Pramanam te Karya Karya Vyavastito Gnatva Shastra Vidhanuktam Karma Kartum Arhasi. Therefore, Arjuna means all of us. Tasmat, therefore, Tasmat Shastra Pramanam te, just taking scriptures as your standard guidance. Just Shastra Pramanam te Karya Karya Vyavastito. Karya means action, and Akarya means prohibited action. Karya Karyo Vyavastito Gnatva Shastra Vidhanuktam, whatever is stated in scriptures, knowing those facts, Gnatva Shastra Vidhanuktam Karma Kartum Arhasi, then you should do it. So here God again blamed this your sweet desire. You cannot, you don't have the freedom. If you do it, then you do not have peace. You might get money, you might get luxury, you might look apparently happy and very gifted, but the peace of mind, God robs it from you. So there is no peace of mind, no happiness, and that is these two things we are all looking for. So these also emphasizes the importance of following the scriptures, not go by only your desires. So then Arjuna asked a beautiful question on behalf of all of us. Bhagavad Gita, as you all know, it is a dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, who was his disciple as well as his friend. So Arjuna asked Lord Krishna that, okay Lord, so what should I do? No. So then he is asking first the question where the trouble comes. So Arjuna asked the question that comes in the slokas included in today's handout. In the middle it is there. So then Then Arjuna says, Arjuna Vacha means Arjuna said, Arjuna Vacha Atha kena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsheniya baladiva niyojita. Atha kena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsheniya baladiva niyojita. So if it goes word by word like always, Atha kena, then Lord, Atha means now, really, Atha means now. So he is asking Lord Krishna, now Krishna explain me, Atha kena, by what? Atha kena, prayukto ayam, impelled by what I am forced by. Atha kena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha, means we human beings land up doing the wrong things. Atha kena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsheniya, as if it's again against our wish. Nobody has a desire that okay, let's go and pick up a necklace from Messi and get it. No, nobody, even the one who does that, he doesn't have that desire. No, he has a attachment to the necklace, but he knows that it is wrong, in the bottom of his heart. So, atha kena prayukto ayam papam charati purusha anichan api varsheniya. Varsheniya means Lord Krishna's name, and that was his gotra, Varshani. So that's why he's called Varsheniya. He's from the clan. So Varsheniya, that is another name for Lord Krishna. Atha kena prayuktam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsheniya baladiva niyojita, forcefully enjoined. So what is it? So the complete translation, O Lord Krishna, then what is the reason by which we against our own will are impelled to do something which is undesirable forcefully? What is that is pushing us? Very important question, because most people are honest. In the beginning they are honest, then they get into dishonesty thing. Then the sideways and bifurcation happens. But to start with, nobody is born a crook or a robber or a irregular person. So this is what is Arjuna's question, and the Lord explains to him. No? So that's why in Bhagavad Gita it says Arjuna Vacha. Similarly, Bhagavan Vacha. So let there be no doubt it is coming directly from God. So Bhagavan Vacha. And so he says, Kam esh, Krodh esh, Rajo Guna Samudbhavam, Mahasano Mahapapam Vidhi Enam hi Varinam. Arjuna, it is your desire. Kam esh means your desire, this desire, he explains, this desire of yours, Kam esh, Kam means desire, Kam esh, Krodh, and your anger, Krodh, Rajoguna Samudbhavam, they are the product of a quality of Rajoguna. Remember we went through the three gunas, the Sattva, Rajas, Tama, and Rajas is the one which makes you extremely active and forceful. Active, forceful, restless, agitated, but wanting. They are very decent people. It can be a successful doctor, lawyer. It could be a successful businessman, but he's full of rajas. So rajas, which pushes you, So the Kam esh, Krodh esh, Rajo Gun Sam Udbhavam. It is born out of a Rajo Gun Sam Udbhavam. Mahasano Mahapapam. It is with a tremendous appetite. Mahasano Mahapapam. It's all devouring. Whatever you give, he finishes up right away. Means one desire is finished, second, third, fourth. It will keep wanting more and more. Mahasano Mahapapam Vidhi Enam Hivarinam. Arjuna, know this to be your eternal enemy. So answer is given. So what is that we do irregular things, or we get into trouble, or we keep running in a rat race? It is your desire. He says it is your desire. It is your obstructed desire which causes anger and causes more problem. So we can track down all our activities back to these two things now. Desire born and anger. So काम एष क्रोध एष रजोगुण समुद्भवम महासनो महापापम विद्धि enam hi varinam. So these are the two things, So because out of desire, depending upon how intense is your desire, your attachment to the activity is. If you have mild desire, mild activities, intense desire, intense activities, more intense the desire, more disturbances in the mind, and if that desire is not fulfilled, then you will get very angry. If you are attached to something very, very dearly and you value it too much, then if you get angry because of that, if you are attached to your Mercedes so much, and if somebody bumps it and causes a big dent, then because you were attached so much, so you are so much angry. If you were not so much attached, okay, chalo bhai, I will get it repaired. You won't get angry. But here you were attached so much. So the more the attachment, more internal distress, more the attachment, more the anger if something comes in your way. So these are all products of desire and anger. So that's why we should always listen to the word of God, because we find the answer right away. So here it says, scriptures are words of God. So it is essentially God. God cannot be with you all the time. He came here as Jesus and as Krishna and as Buddha, but they can't be roaming with you all the time. They left so much teachings for us to read and to use. So scriptures are as sacred as God Himself. Saints are as sacred as God, because they are the ones who explains and propagates His teachings. But we are so much afraid of G word, where we don't want to use the God word. No, G word we don't want to use. We don't want to use it in school. We don't want to use it at work. We don't want to use it in museum. We don't want to use it in somewhere, nowhere. No G word. No, it will create. What happened to you? No, it will create problem. No, that is human beings' perverted thinking, and we will pay for it very dearly as the years go by. So that is the law of nature. So you cannot be doing the things and just keeping the God in locked up in temple or in church. So and all the information we get, we are not afraid of CNN. 24/7 we look at CNN. CNN is our educator. CNN is our information. CNN is we get the ideas from that. Our thinking gets perverted. But G word we don't want it. So that's a mistake. But anyways, we will wake up someday. Otherwise, every 20 years you will see the outcome of wrong track. You don't see it right away, but you will see it one by one. Then these desire, where it is produced and why it happens. We don't want desire, but it is not up to you. So we are born with these pairs of opposite. We are born, Ichha dvesa samuthena dvanda mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. This pair of opposite, Arjuna, Ichha and dves, your desire and aversion. You are born with it. At the time of birth, we had this first pair of opposites. So dvanda. So what is the first dvanda? Is I like life, I hate death. This is the first dvanda, and it is designed for preservation of the species. It is very, very essential that for the human being to exist. So we love life, we hate death, we hate even the idea of death. So we never talk about death, when we are healthy, but God says talk about it. So ichha dvesh, and then comes happiness, sorrow, likes, dislike, the profit, loss. All those dvandas develop as we grow up. So desire, how the desire is produced. So that's how we will go to the first sloka in the handout today. That is chapter 2, 62 sloka, number 62. So God says that desire is produced by your meditating on the objects. Dhyayato visayan punasah sangaste supajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho abhijayate. Beautiful sloka, beautiful mechanism why the things develop, why the desire develops. Dhyayato means meditating. Dhyana means meditation. Dhyayato, one who is meditating, is dhyayato. Visayan means objects of senses. Dhyayato visayan punasah sangaste supajayate, and that will cause the attachment to that. You are meditating on an object of senses will produce a desire, attachment. Dhyayato visayan punasah sangaste supajayate sangat sanjayate kama. Out of attachment, if you continue to do it, you will have developed desire. Sangat sanjayate kama, where you will develop a desire. Kamat krodho abhijayate, and if in between somebody comes or something comes as an obstacle, you will get angry. But the problem starts when you start meditating on the object. If you do not meditate on the object, there is no problem. Object on its own is not going to run after you. You run after the object. You go and repeatedly keep thinking about that object. And just an example, there are so many beautiful cars on the street. They don't bother you. There are Porsche, and there are very expensive cars, and there are Bentley. They come and go. It doesn't bother you. But if you get involved and if you start thinking about it, and you see in a parking lot next door, and then you see a very nice car, big Mercedes, you already have a very nice car, but if you go and see that car, and then you start thinking about it, you go repeat it, not one time, you go next time, and then you circle around it, you see the best features, then think about it. Oh, it's very luxurious, ride is very good, very impressive, very prestigious, I can afford it, I should have it. That circle starts in your mind, and if you don't stop it and you continue that, then it will develop attachment. So very soon you will develop attachment to that, and then say, okay, let's have it. I'm going to have it. And then you will make all the efforts to have that object of your desire. So it started because you meditated on it. If you don't meditate on it, it will not bother you. So God says, don't meditate on things. Just see it with an unconcerned attitude. Udasina vatasin. Udasin means you are unconcerned with that. It is there. It's good. Okay, that's fine. But if you go after it, then it sooner or later it will create you problem. So dhyayato visayan punasah sangaste supajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho abhijayate. And then he says, what happens with the krodh? With the anger, all the trouble starts. With the anger, krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smruti vibram. Smruti brusant buddhinasat pranasyati. When a person is angry, then the downward spiral starts. The work to be done is before anger comes. Once the anger comes to you, it's already late. So krodhat bhavati sammoha, because it will cause a delusion. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smruti vibram. When there is delusion, your memory is lost. Smruti vibram. Smruti brashant buddhi naso. When your memory is gone, your intellect stops working. Temporarily, you are mad. So anger is temporary madness. So during that spell, person forgets. He forgets that I am a doctor, I am going to a hospital, I have a 5-year-old kid at home, I spent 25 years to become a doctor, and he forgets, and if he has an accident, he gets very angry with another passenger, another car, and then they start fighting and arguing, and he might do something which is very undesirable, and both of them they get arrested, or something can happen out of that spell. We have seen these and read it in a newspaper very frequently. The husband gets very angry at wife, there is a problem, then problem gets worse, and very angry, and both of this anger flares up, and then suddenly he just pulls out a gun and shoots the wife. And then he says, oh my God, what did I do? Then when the delusion starts fading away, he recognizes the grave mistake that he has made. So he again takes a gun and kills himself. So these are double murders, so very common, I mean not uncommon. So because during that spell he had forgotten that he has children who have gone to school, and these fight, there are 1,000 ways to resolve that, but during that madness his intellect stopped, he became totally mad, he did something which is so regretful, and there is no way to come back. So he is so remorseful that he shoots himself and kills. Very commonly we see. So if we go to a jail and ask 100 prisoners what is the basis why they are there, it is all produced by their desire which were uncontrolled, and the anger which was uncontrolled, which crossed the limit, and they landed up in jail. So to avoid anger, get rid of the desire. So don't have any desire, and then if you don't have any desire, you are the king. Vasana praksayo moksha, you are a liberated soul. No? So God says, curtail down as much desire as possible. As much desire as possible, less the trouble. So that is what is called satisfaction or santosh. You are happy. Like a greed is that I am not happy with what I have and I want more. So santosh is I have enough and I am happy with what I have. That is santosh. So God says any time a disturbance come to your mind, we are all human beings, we are all exposed to these very powerful attractions, and the society makes it worse. From morning till evening there are advertisements, which kids they see 1,000 times, all the different kinds of perfumes and purses and vacation sites and what not. This advertisement break is a trouble for you. They spend millions of dollars to attract you, and then millions of times they put it on the TV till your mind gets corrupted and you are finished. So this is the problem of the society. We messed it up, and then we say, oh my God, what happened? We encourage gambling, which is considered very bad by any society over the thousands of years. Now we are justifying and promoting, and it on by state. State is promoting gambling, and now it was not enough. So gambling online. You will see what happens next 5 years. Wait, every 10 years you have to wait to see the massive effect. And then there are gamblers are created, and then they give an advertisement. Oh, if you have gambling problem, then call this number. What a idiotic way of moving forward. Whether we are going forward or backward, only God knows. But that gambling was considered very bad. When we grew up, it was considered shameful. I still remember one of our young relatives. He was very smart and handsome and a very charming person. And then we heard, as kids, we heard that somewhere, that such and such is playing numbers. He's playing numbers, means matka. That was called matka, as in Bombay. As a Worli matka. It is a town called Worli, the suburb. So there it was nothing else but a gambling. These numbers which comes in New Jersey lottery every night, So you pick up the number. So but it was considered so shameful and so bad, and now it is a state sponsored. But bad is bad, whether you state sponsored or sponsored by a billionaire, or doesn't matter, or sponsored by saint, doesn't matter. It is bad is so bad, So anyway, we are not the manager of the society, but this is God says that you take care of yourself. That's why I gave you one brain per person. I gave you intellect, I gave you mind, I gave you scriptures, and I gave you freedom to make choice. Now you make choice. You want to play numbers every day, or you want to go online, you want to do gambling, or whatever you want to do, you make this. We should not blame anybody, but other outside factors are not helping. That's what I try to see that, and that is the truth. So desire we have to curtail as much as possible. So God says, curtail as much desire as you can. And so these all sensory objects, we have to take care of that. And so we have no choice but to control on these desires and ultimately get the knowledge about the self. So we saw where the desire is produced. Now we will see the whole sequence of things. So those are the slokas from 339 to 348, and which explains how this thing works. So Lord says, Avrutam gnanam etena gnanino nitya verina kam rupena konte duspurena nalena cha. So God says, Avrutam gnanam means your knowledge, the true knowledge is covered by the layers. Avrutam means covered. Avrutam gnanam means knowledge. Gnanam etena gnanino nitya verina. It is your eternal enemy. Again he says that. Gnanino nitya. Kama rupena konteya, in the form of desire. Duspurena analenacha, which you can never satisfy. Avrutam gnanam etena gnanino nitya verina kama rupena konteya duspurena analenacha. For a seeker, this desire is covering our true self. What is our true self? Is our soul. Our true essential character is soul, but that is covered with the layers of what? The desires. So God says it is covered by the layers of desire, and that's why you can't have the true knowledge. Otherwise, true knowledge is that I am a pure soul, I am not this body. That is the true knowledge. But we don't get to that because of what? Because of Maya. That is the power of God. That is the power of God. Elusive power of God is Maya Shakti, and it has two components. One is Avarana Shakti, means it covers your true identity. So you were such a sacred soul. You came in the body, and the Maya covered your true identity. So true identity was covered. That is called Avarana Shakti. And it created a Vikshep Shakti, that is another power of Maya, that it irritates and provokes your mind and intellect to get involved with the outside world. So it did two negative things. So Maya covered our true identity of our soul, and then that irritated your mind and provoked the desires and senses and pushed you outside in the world. So because of that, we are lost from childhood till the end. So that will happen unless God says that you identify your true nature, and your true nature is your pure soul. And it's never late. God says it is never late. Don't think that I did not start at 30 or 40 or 50. He says even if you are in a nursing home, you can have the knowledge that you are a pure soul, you are not this body. But you should be able to intellectually understand, absorb, and able to say that. That without any, with full conviction. When that full conviction comes, that is called the Gnani, means he has the knowledge of his true self. So if that happens, instantaneously the desire and fulfillment of desire cycle, God says, will end. But if that understanding and that truth does not come to you, then this satisfying your desire after desire and pending desires, which are called vasanas, you will have to take another body to suffer or to enjoy all your pending things. But if you become knowledgeable and if you try, then it is absolutely doable, and you must do it. That's why you got this chance as a human being. If you don't do it, then okay, that's it, your time will run out. So avrutam gnanam, so that's the first sloka. Avrutam gnanam etena gnanino nitya verina kama rupena kvanteya duspurena nilayanacha. And where does this stay? So God says, these your enemy. God says, desire as your enemy, 4 places in 7 slokas. God says it is eternal enemy. Which one? Desire. Nothing else. If you can control this, understand this, you are free today. So then God says, this desire, where does it reside? So it resides in Indriyani, Manor Buddhi, Asyadi Sthanam Uchate, Eter Vimoeti Esha Gnanam Avrute Denam. These desires resides in the senses, it resides in your mind, it resides in your intellect, and corrupts you. So we saw this when we studied mind, that the senses bring the information, mind receives it, intellect analyzes and makes a judgment, and it orders again to the mind to do the activity. So this whole chain continues, and that if you are not vigilant and if you have corrupted intellect, so that's why you need a pure intellect, and don't let intellect corrupt, because that's your guard, that which helps you make the right decisions. So these all desires, they reside in senses and in your mind. That I want this car, I want a brand new suit, I want I want to buy a necklace. All those desires, they reside in your mind. I want to have a financial empire, I want to have wisdom. These are all my intellectual desires. So it is in my intellect. So there are some desires reside in intellect, that I have to have a financial empire, I have to become a big scientist. These are all, they are good desires, but they reside in the intellect level. Other desires, they reside at the level of mind. Oh, I want to go to ice cream parlor and I want to eat ice cream or pizza, or I want to see a movie. That all these things are working at a low level of mind and senses. So there are different places this thing resides. So Indriyani, then God says, Indriyani parani aho, Indriyebhya param mana, Manasastu para buddhe yo buddhe paratastu sa. Arjuna, so all these 4 things, Indriyani parani aho. Indriyas means senses are powerful. Parani means superior. Indriyani parani aho. Indriyebhya param mana. And more than your senses is your mind, which is superior. And Indriyani paraniyaho indriyebhya paramana manasastu parabuddhi, and superior to your mind is your intellect, and yo buddhe paratastusa, and the boss of bosses is your soul. So that is the most powerful. So intellect is powerful, senses are powerful, mind is powerful. In increasing, these are or different kinds of officers, But if you corrupt your officer, if you corrupt your mind, it's like just an example. You have diabetes, but you go to bakery store and you find a beautiful, nice cake and cookies and other thing, and then you get tempted. It smells so good, it looks so good, it tastes so good. Your prior experience, so you get attracted to it because of your senses and because of your prior experience, and then you want to have it. So that is your mind wants to have it. But then suddenly your wife reminds you and you remember yourself, oh no, my A1C is 9 and I'm a diabetic and it is out of control. No, so your intellect says no, forget it, you can't have it. So intellect became a boss, which it should be, and it says though you got tempted, though you were about to buy it and consume it, but your intellect say okay, no, you can't have it. It is going to be deleterious to you. But if you have a shaky intellect and then you say, I have diabetes for diabetes, now what, I will take little more insulin. Means you have corrupted your insulins previously, you are corrupting it more. Come on, no, cut it short. No, I am going to take, instead of 20, I'll take 25 in it, but I am going to enjoy these. No? So desire is nothing else but your informed judgment. What is the name of desire? How will you define? No, so desire is your judgment. I took a judgment that I want this and I have to have it. Means forcefully I made it. And that is named as desire. The more forcefully you say that I have to have it, I can't live without it, I have to have this car or this house, or I have to have 4-bedroom house or whatever, that is your insistence. More the insistence, more the trouble. So Dadaji used to call jakar, mare aaj જોઈએ જ. Whenever in Gujarati language, if you put a ja, means in Hindi you put a he. मेरे को ये ही चाहिए, यही ब्रांड चाहिए मेरे को, भी नहीं, he means insistence. No? ये भी चलेगा, वो भी चलेगा. No, if you are easy go lucky, okay, जो है दे दे. No, means give it to me. I'm comfortable. If I get a big car, small car, medium car, I'm fine. So no, but if people who have powerful ego and powerful desire, more trouble it will bring. So this is the hierarchy with which it works. But if you have corrupted our intellect, if you have corrupted our mind, and if we are exposed with tremendous attractions here and there, then it becomes very difficult to come out of that. So God says that first of all, don't start with that. Then once you have the true knowledge, then the same thing will not bother you. Because then you know that you are a pure soul, you are not this body, you are aware about your senses, you are aware about the mechanics, how these things work. Then you can work around it. So Patanjali, as a Maharishi Patanjali gives us a beautiful guidance that any time you get attracted to anything, or you have to make a judgment or an adverse situation, so that time you bring a pratipaksha bhavana, means opposite emotion you bring. So I got attracted to these things. I got attracted to Mercedes, and I decided, I just give example of Mercedes so it's easy to understand, and I want to have it. Then I'm looking at all the positive things. It is very prestigious, it's very comfortable, very reliable, it is so nice, believe me. If that happens, Maharishi Patanjali says, bring a pratipaksha bhavana, bring opposite of this one. This Mercedes, it costs 95,000 and it's so expensive. The insurance is $1,500 and installment will be $1,400, and if it breaks down, it costs you thousands of dollars, and then you need a garage, you need it at home, you need it at work, somebody will break. You start thinking negative part of it. That's called pratipaksha bhavana. One was attraction, this one you are thinking it's negative thing. And once you do it more, then you say, forget about Mercedes, I'm fine with my Toyota. You will drop that idea in no time. because you don't want to be involved with the headache. Nobody knowingly wants to get involved with the headache. So pratipaksha bhavana. No? So if something attracts you, bring the negative of that one, you are free. No? So like a greed, pratipaksha bhavana is a santosh. So if you become greedy, you say no, I want more and more. No, you say santosh. This is fine. I am happy as it is. No. So that is the opposite emotion, and that saves us. So, but once you get a true knowledge that you are a pure soul, and this Maya is causing this problem. And the real purpose of life you understand through the scriptures, through the saints, and then you meditate on that. So if you meditate on the objects of senses, it will attract you. If you meditate on God, it will attract you. So we saw Dhyayato Visayan Punasa. Similarly, there is a very profound sloka in Bhagavad. The Ved Vyasa, the base sloka. There are 18,000 slokas. Out of that, this one is very good. No? Visayan dhayatas chittam. Visayan dhayatas chittam visayesu visajjate. Mam anusmaratat chittam mayeva pravilyate. If you meditate on the objects of senses, you will get attached to the senses. Similarly, the mind which meditates on me, God says, Vedvyas says, meditates on me, that will dissolve in me. Mam anusmarat tat chittam mayeva pravilyate. So it is a focus of the mind where you are putting, and that you will develop attraction. And once you develop the attraction, once the attraction goes towards the Godwards, the worldly thing loses attraction instantaneously and automatically. Once you are taking the steps towards the God, the one foot you put upstairs on the higher step, the other foot will come out from the lower step, and then you continue your journey. And then God says, I will be your railing. I will be your railing in your spiritual path. So God becomes your railing. And then he says the destination is certain. It's only one direction. Your success is guaranteed. So God says, I will take over that. No. So so we have to know these mechanics, of these different indriyani prani. Okay, indriyani parani आओ इंद्रियभ्य परम मन मनसस्तु परा बुद्धि ये बुद्धि पर एवं बुद्धि परम बुद्धवा संस्तव्यम आत्मनम आत्मन जहि शत्रु महाबाहो काम रूपम दुरास. Knowing soul to be most powerful, using the power of the soul, your lower self, which is intellect, mind, and your willpower, you lift yourself to the super soul. So evam buddhe, knowing that the soul is most powerful, evam buddhe param buddhva sanstavyam atmanam atmana jahi satru. Jahi means finish that enemy. Jahi satru mahabaho kam rupam durasadam. Again he says, this is your enemy. So what is called desire, destroy that. If you do this, what will happen? Then there are other slokas which tells us what is the reward of that one. The reward of following these verses. So that's why God says, Kama krodha viyuktanam yati nam yat chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Kam krodha viyuktanam, one who is devoid of anger and desire. Kam krodha viyuktanam yati nam yat chetasam, the yogi, yati means yogi, yati nam yat chetasam, one who has controlled his intellect, not corrupted but controlled, and and used intellect and mind to his advantage. Yati nam yat chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate vidyatatma. He will feel the Brahman all around him. So that is the reward that you will get. And even if it happens at the end time, then also it is fine. So there are 2 slokas in 2nd chapter, and then we'll end. No, that is Vihai Kaman Yesarvan Puman Charati Nispruha Nirmamo Nirahankara Sasantim Adigachati. Vihai Kaman, again, same trouble. Vihai Kaman, one who has given up. Vihai Kaman means desires. Vihai Kaman Yasarvan, all of them. Vihai Kaman Yasarvan. From his mind, Vihai Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan. Atmani Atmanat, that becomes a sthit pragna. So that once you become sthit pragna, so then you can do this. Then God says, Esa Brahmi Sthiti Partha Prapyam Enam Vimoyati Sthitva Asyam Api Antakale Brahma Nirvanam Rushati. This Brahmi Sthiti means one who is established in Brahman. That is called Brahmi Sthiti, means Brahman is God. So one who is pursuing God or established in God, Esa Brahmi Sthiti Partha Prapyam Enam Vimoyati. Once you reach that, then you are not again going to get deluded with the worldly thing. Prapyam Enam Sthitva Asyam Api Antakale. Even at the last moment, the Brahma Nirvanam Rushvati, then you can get a Brahman or ultimate goal. So even if you have a hemiplegia and you are in nursing home, but you are meditating on God and you are trying to understand and you get that clarity, you are fine. You don't have to be robust and young to do. Don't never think that I'm late and what can I do now? I became a mess and now the chance is gone. No. God says this chance is there as long as there is life in you. You can be hemiplegic, you can be weak, you can be have so many other problems. As long as I have given you intellect will continue to work till the last, and use intellect, use your mind, and this questioning. 2 things you have to do. They remove the avaran, that is the covering, which is the desires, and control. So covering you remove, and these are the 2 pedals of spiritual progress. That's what God says. So He explained everything. If you want to go in more detail, we need more time, and but it is this much is enough if we have this information, that it is who is our enemy and how to deal with it, and how to be vigilant. So then it gives a peace of mind and joy. That is a practical outcome, of this. Namaste.